Ford saying it fast-tracked a pay boost for 8,000 UAW employees as of Labor Day. This after the union made a counteroffer ahead of next week's strike deadline. Let's get your team coverage. Bloomberg's AMH alongside Kailey Leinz in Washington, D.C. Kailey Leinz, what's the latest?
Well, I would point out that this raise for these 8,000 union represented workers at Ford is a product of something that was agreed to back in 2019. That is when those negotiations happened. It's just accelerating now the time it takes for a worker to reach the average top raise of $32 an hour. And Ford said in a statement that these pay raises are an example of Ford's commitment to improving the lives of our hourly workforce. And we are offering further improvements in the next contract because, of course, John, it is now the next contract that is of issue here. The current one expires on September 14th. And so we are staring down that deadline for these negotiations to actually result in a deal. And of course, this isn't just Ford. GM and Stellantis are also locked in these conversations with the UAW. And if you remember, just last week, the UAW filed a lawsuit against those two car companies saying that they weren't bargaining in good faith. Now, the latest there is we do expect that GM and the UAW are going to talk today. The union has said it does expect to get an offer from GM. Then for Stellantis, they are expected to present an offer by the end of this week. But time is running short. We are just a week out now from that contract expiration. Remember, the union itself has called some of what it is asking for audacious: 46% pay raises, 32-hour work week, other benefit related matters as well. And GM has been here before. In 2019, there was a 40-day strike of that automaker in particular that cost the company billions of dollars in EBITDA. So this is really go time here, John. 150,000 workers risking walking out of all three automakers at the same time if an agreement can't be made.
It is go time, Annmarie. What's the official line from this White House on this dispute?
Well, you saw it out in the open yesterday, Jonathan. This White House wants to be seen as they are on the side of the unions, especially when they come out hailing the product of what happened between the dock workers in the Pacific and on the ports. But overshadowing that, of course, is this contentious contract debate between the UAW, as Kailey just outlined, and these big three auto workers. And it puts Biden in a really difficult place. We already know that there's an individual in the White House that has been working with this, Gene Sperling. He wanted someone to make sure they were involved in these negotiations. There's a lot of consternation within the White House. One, the president doesn't want to see a strike on his watch. What does that mean for the supply chain? What does that mean for the impact on the economy? But also, at the heart of these negotiations, Jonathan, is a pivotal industrial policy that this administration wants to see through. And that goes to electrifying the EV grid. And what you hear from the UAE workers is they want to know if they're not going to be left behind in this EV push. A lot of these battery plants are being developed in the south of America that usually doesn't have a pro-labor union way of working, it just historically. And second, of course, is the fact that they want to make sure that these workers that are working on EVs, that they're coming into the UAW, that they can look at their wages and make sure they're benefiting on behalf of them. So it's a really sticky situation for the president, and that's probably part of the reason why the UAW has yet to endorse his reelection campaign.